right. Let's get this underway, shall we? First, we will set up. Probably should have got this, but that's okay. Okay. Hey, what's up? Let's see. First, we're going to do... That's that. That's that. That goes up here to... Yep. Oh, okay. I was right. And then lastly... Bam! There we go. All right. Move this, get everything put in place, fix this real quick, and see that that's actually up and going. Hey, what's up? And I've been saying it. I've been saying it for weeks that we've been doing the show. Finally, I did it. That is the new camera. You are seeing the new camera right now. That is why the background is so much better. That's why I don't seem... Look, I'm a fairly pale guy, but like I do see the sun every now and then. So like I'm not as pale. See? And I don't know if I could switch it in real time here right now, but let me show you just how much of a difference this really is. This is the old camera. It's still set up. So I haven't like moved it or anything like that. That's the old camera right there. So you recognize this and everything. Like I said, everything is kind of washed out. It's really bright and all that. And see this? That doesn't seem like too big of a deal, but it kind of is. The frame rate only goes so high, but the frame rate on the new camera is way better. The color is better. The low light setting is better. Everything about it is literally better. The focus is better, and it does 100 frames per second. So it feels a lot smoother. You can actually see the background. Everything about this looks like it's going to be better. Like, I haven't messed with it too much. I'm still kind of getting used to how it works and certain things like that. And you can actually see that I just did something right now that I didn't mean to do. I also agree. Look, I talk with my hands a lot. There's an AI system built into the camera. And like right now, this is okay. See, up there it goes. Let's recenter it. Stop doing that. There. I don't know how many times I'm going to make that mistake. There are 3 or 4 hand gestures specifically that change the way that the camera functions. And I talk with my hands a lot. It's a habit and one that I don't see myself breaking even with this camera. If I have to, I may actually have to go in to the system and tell it to stop. And I may have to turn off the gesturing commands. But I may want to use those gesturing commands for certain things. And we'll get into those things as we go. Man, right off the bat, well, first off, thank you. Second, welcome. Hey, what's going on? And we should be underway pretty good. There's some pretty cool stuff that's been added to the show. some really good ones, actually. I've got some that I'm definitely looking forward to, if I'm being perfectly honest here. And just to name out a couple, like, that really seem like big hitters right now. I got 2 Masterverse figures that look like they're going to be absolutely awesome. I can't say that they're like new, but they're new enough for me that I'm very interested in them. And they're some of my favorite from Masterverse in general, so that looks very cool. Second, there's Zesray Studios Gold Hilder Limited Edition. That looks fantastic. Okay, that looks like a barbarian figure of my literal dreams. We also have about 5 Marvel Legends that are absolutely standout right now that have been added to the show. We have 2, both of them standout top feature characters from DC Multiverse, which are added to the show. And then, of course, and we have 2 Mega Man figures that were added to the show, as well as all the storage content and whatnot. So this one looks good. And not just this one, but as we go forward, I'm really hoping that well, I think we're off to a strong start in terms of what we can open, what we'll see, and what we'll have going forward and whatnot. And I am very eager to test out how the camera handles reviews and discussions. I already love one thing right off the bat. It has been minor, and it doesn't bother me that much, but oftentimes the last camera that we were using focused very heavily on my face, which is fine, except for the fact that I'm kind of an ugly mug and I have to subject that to you with every single episode that we do. But now, aside from my face, you can actually look into the background and see what I currently have up and what we've talked about and things like that. You can actually see things that I don't think came across with the last camera. And for that matter, I'm not 100% sure why, if it's just positioning or what, this camera sees more of the room. I think it's a wider lens than the other camera, because now you can actually see up to part of my G.I. Joe shelf, and you can see some of my Pokemon, which that is something that I think in the other camera was completely cut off. It's not something that you guys ever really got to see. So there's a lot of cool things about getting the new camera that I hope really kind of brings the show to life and helps some of the chapters and stuff like that. I got high hopes, is what I'm saying. Hey, yeah, absolutely. You are here for this one. Okay, it does show more. I was thinking, I couldn't say 100%, but I really felt like that was true. Yeah, I got high hopes for this camera. I really do. Oh my gosh, we are starting out right off the bat with a 3-way tie. People are still getting in here. Things are still getting rolling and everything like that. So we'll figure that out as we go. Tomorrow, because there's not much of a show update. If I had to say that there's a show update, this is what I'll tell you for a show update right now. If you've noticed, I have finally got to the point where I am starting to edit again. Where I'm starting to edit again. And that is starting to help us. So, yeah, some of the videos are like literally almost 3-4 months old. But the chapters are finally being made from these lives. And I have nothing but hope for that. Like, I'm really looking forward to all those going up. We just got the Gamerverse Wolverine to go up to be talked about, which is a wild statement, if I'm being perfectly honest, because he has been on the shelf for like a couple of months now. So the chapters are so far behind the show right now, but that will catch up as we go. Excuse me. That is pretty much the channel update. Otherwise, there's not too much to say other than the fact that the new camera should help with certain things and whatnot. And I am really excited about the fact that I got a new camera. Okay, it's a pretty big deal. For what it cost and what it is, it's a pretty big deal. And I'm hoping, because I'm noticing right now, it is not, because sometimes the other camera loses focus randomly as we're doing the show, and I got to keep like turning it off and turning it back on. I haven't noticed this camera yet in any of my tests so far, because I did a couple of tests when I first got it. I tried it in higher light settings and I tried it in lower light settings to see if I would have certain problems. As of yet, I have not seen this thing lose focus. And I have noticed it does pretty good at snapping back and forth to show off figures. I have a figure right here, actually, just for the sake of. Right off the bat, he looks better on the camera than most of the other stuff has. The focus actually has pretty good on him, so I could show him off. But I can force the focus directly onto him easier than I could with my other stuff. As you see, that happened very quickly. And then when we get rid of him, it snaps back pretty quick to me. And a small feature that this camera does, which I was not expecting, but it's pretty cool. If I want to show him off specifically, I can. Like, you gotta see my head all big and everything in the frame. But that is a pretty cool feature. One that I have noticed, however, could be dangerous when I start moving my hands all around. So we'll see how this goes. If you guys have been here for a while, you know this show evolves with time. We get new equipment, we try new mics, we play around with different things, and who knows where it takes us as we go there. That's the thing. Now, tomorrow, I don't know. I'm going to watch my money real careful, because a lot rides on whether or not my money is in a certain spot tomorrow. But tomorrow, Mondo releases their Beavis and Butthead. You get Beavis, you get Butthead. They're interchangeable statues, so multi-post statues, just like the Daria and Jane were. They're about 9 inches tall. They come with the couch and a TV. The TV has multiple slides, so you can change what they're watching. And both Beavis and Butthead come with 3 different heads, standing legs and sitting legs, and a couple of different arms. So I could set up different scenes from the shows. Oh, and their heads, when you put their heads on, from what I was seeing anyway, their heads can turn. So that's pretty cool. They come with like nachos and random stuff like that. They're a pretty cool little set for like a statue type of thing. And my idea, hopefully tomorrow, I will be able to pre-order these. I don't know. Like I said, I have to watch my money. If I can pre-order them, there's a pretty cool idea. I want to put them with Daria and Jane. They'll have a couch, I'll have a Beavis and Butthead, a Daria, and a Jane, and I can put them all on my shelf together. They won't be up here, they'll be down in my living room with my movies. But it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And if I get them, of course I will do an episode talking about them, because why wouldn't I? That would be pretty cool. Otherwise, there's a lot of stuff coming out. And we're going to have to keep our eye on it as we go. We'll see a lot of stuff coming out. Like, January kind of hit hard, if I'm being honest. Like, there was a lot of stuff that was pushed back into January and a lot of stuff that came out earlier than I was expecting. And so I'm kind of watching where my fund currently sits. I see that Triclops in the back, one of my favorite Motu figures besides Cyclone. Yes, that is that's my Origins Triclops back there. He is pretty cool, I got to admit. I actually think do I have 2 Origins? I think I only have 1 Origins Triclops, but I have every Masterverse Triclops that was released. Can't rush perfection, bro. It takes time. It absolutely does. Hey, what's going on, man? But did you see the graphic novel Mega Man Timeline for pre-order? No, I did not. Is that so I did not follow the Mega Man comics when they came out. It was just one more thing that seemed like it was going to be a lot, and I was kind of leaving behind single issues at the time. So if that's a thing and that's what that is, I would be interested in that, because a graphic novel, that's kind of where I am in my comic life now. I don't really like single issues. I feel like the nature of comic books has changed, and I feel like we needed to change with it. And in some cases we did, and in some cases we did not. And when we did not change with it, I think we hurt ourselves a little bit. Look, there was a time when single issues were what they were. They were full stories that we read, and then we moved on with our lives. Now, every story is broken into 5 or 6 parts, and sometimes spread across like 5 or 6 different comics. I can't stand that. I think I actually have a video that says like single issues have to go or something like that, or leaving comics or something like that. I can't remember. But I talked a lot about this, and I left all of that. Now I'm more interested in omnibus and graphic novels and complete stories. I want to read something uninterrupted, sometimes in a single sitting, that will take me forever to get through. I don't want that. Did we lose? It says reconnection successful. I was worried we lost the feed there for a second. Let me check real quick and see. Excellent settings, minor break. I think we're doing fine. Yeah, that was a little bit concerning. I just got a notice that the feed had went down for a second, but it looks like we're still going. So, okay. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of where my mindset is with all that stuff now. So if that's what that is, I would be very interested in that. But I did not follow the singles for that. And is that new camera setup you've been waiting to use? Because if so, nice. Yes, this is the new camera. Yes. Like I said, towards the end of January, when I know where my money is, I made this camera a priority. I figured it was important to do so. The stream and everything has kind of become like the main thing for the channel, and I wanted a camera that really just let us do what we're doing, and this one looks like a winner for that. So yeah, this camera seems like it's going to really help a lot for what we do now. Do you feel like in-person toy hunting is getting worse? I might just be more picky nowadays, but I find myself having more success ordering online rather than going out and finding stuff. I have done a couple of videos talking about toy hunts. And so here's the thing, or at least where my mind goes with all this. The hunt worked so much better when we weren't as connected. I truly believe this. Look, now with all the lives and all the information and all the news and knowing all the toys that are coming out all the time, when I was first in all this and I would toy hunt, I didn't know what all was out there. It was cool to go to a Toys R Us, a Walmart, a Target, and find stuff. A Lego set you had no idea about. A set of characters you never figured they would make. Really cool Marvel Legends. Some of your favorite characters that you never knew were on the shelf like that. Heck, when I first saw the Motu Origins stuff, I was still just regular toy hunting. As I got more into this stuff, and I started knowing what was out there and how much was not stocked, that became a problem. It became a real problem. The other part that became a problem was I got into things that you could not get. So, if you collect Marvel Legends, and that is it, chances are you will find a good portion of Marvel Legends to buy. I'm not saying you'll find everything. I'm saying that on the average, you will find enough Marvel Legends to keep you happy. However, say you get into Super 7. Maybe there's 2 at a Walmart if you're very lucky. Like, do you think you'd come across this at Walmart? You're going to find that? Would you ever even know that it existed? Do you even have a shot at it? Not if you're waiting for it to show up at an actual retailer. They don't stock them. When was the last time you bought a Play Arts Kai from Target? Anyone? How many of the Mega Man figures have we seen easily available at Walmart? Heck, I'm still seeing Fei Long, Chun-Li, and Ryu, and that is it at Walmart. They're not there. The stuff, this hobby is so expansive. The stuff just isn't there. Heck, right now, Zesray Studio is currently winning the vote, which is fine. It's 100% fine because Gold Hilder looks absolutely fantastic. But look, that's part of my argument here. Where is Gold Hilder in the toy store? Where is she? You gonna get a Mondo at a Walmart? Are you? And these aren't, some of these aren't even like big, crazy like toys. Like, look at how hard it has become to get DC Multiverse. That's becoming very difficult. And it's not always just a McFarlane fault or a Mattel fault or a Hasbro fault. It is a lot more complicated than that. This stuff goes out and distributes across different stores, and then they reallocate their stocks depending on sales and so on and so forth. It's a big mess of stuff that determines where something goes and yada yada. And maybe you get some stuff and maybe you don't. How hard is it for somebody trying to buy the entire collection of the Simpsons stuff? It's not in the stores. It's very sporadic. Heck, Wave 2 basically wasn't even there. And now every now and then you get some of the new stuff, but not all of it. And it's very hard to find, and it's a pain. And we're talking about some of the easy stuff to locate. What if you're into Mythic Legions? It's never happening. What about Brutal Realm? You think Brutal Realm is gonna have a spot in your local Target? I'm not even trying to be complicated. Like, I'm not even trying to look purposely for stuff that's not going to be there. I'm just being very honest. If I look over at my shelf over here right now, Frazetta Icons, nope. Storm Collectible, nope. Epic Hack, nope. Most of my Wonder Woman stuff, Mezco, nope. Like, we have entered a part now where the toy hunt is not realistic via regular retail. Toys are not as easy now as Playmates, Mattel, Hasbro, Go Shop. It's vast. It has expanded exponentially. And there's so many hands in so many properties with so many interests. And we no longer have a store like Toys R Us that has enough headspace and open doors to give you the chance to buy all of these things. They don't exist. So your only option is to go online. And I think that as that's happened, it has de-incentivized a lot of these stores to stock the material, making the problem even worse. It used to be kind of hard to find certain things. Now it's downright impossible sometimes. It is literally getting struck by lightning sometimes when you walk into the store and go, "Oh!" And then you find it. And that's a cool experience. I'm never going to take that away from you. I'll be 100% honest. That's fantastic. It's why we got into the toy hunting part. But I have found, personally, for me, that when it comes to toy hunting, I have taken a step back. I save my money. I like to have about $300 to $400. Doesn't always happen. Most of the time it ends up being $200 or even $100 or $150. Just depends on when these hit. I go to the conventions, the toy shows. We have a couple of them that hit around here in the Quad Cities. And if I plan it out right, I can hit a couple of those. That's where I do my toy hunting. That's where I walk table to table and I just see what's out there. I very seldom do I go in with a battle plan. I take $200 or $300 if I'm lucky, $400 if it's really been an overtime week. And then I go up and down the aisles and I look at everything until something goes, oh, that's a thing, or that's really cool, or I've never seen one in person. That's where I do my toy hunting. Toy hunting for me has become, I hate to do this, I hate to say it, it's become a waste of time. In the time it takes me to drive around from store to store to store to store to store. I have 5 Walmarts in my area. I have like 3 different, is it 3 Targets? I think it's, if I want to drive out of my way, it's 3 Targets. Realistically, it's 2 Targets. But about 5 different Walmarts and a couple of random stores here and there. Like I have the Overstock toy store and stuff like that. But if I'm being perfectly honest, if I drive to one Walmart and I don't find anything, it is no longer feasible in the world that we live in for me to drive to the next one. When I could fill my tank up, I'm going to sound old. When I could fill my tank up on a $20 bill, it was perfectly feasible. Perfectly feasible. I would drive clear out of my way. I'd make a 2-hour round radius area and be like, I'm going to try that place, this place, this place, and this place. I'd drive out there with $200 in my pocket, not worried about nothing. I'd get 2 or 3 toys, depending on where I was, where I found something. I'd eat, I'd come home, I'd talk about it on my iCollects or something like that. I'd buy like an anime or something. There was stuff out there. As the online community has grown and so much stuff has expanded, things like Mondo and whatnot, I think that we started buying online, and I think it killed some of the desire for these outlets to stock the way they used to. So they're just not concerned with it. They know you're going online. Heck, they are online. You could go do all of your shopping, your toy hunting, literally on Target online or Walmart online or Amazon or eBay or whatever. And chances are you're going to find something. And the other kicker, I think, is people started having a little bit of the mentality that I have. You know what I like when it comes to all this stuff? Getting stuff. If you told me to go look for this, give it a shot. It's out there somewhere. Good luck to you. I don't want that. I don't want good luck. I don't want to drive around from store to store to store to store hoping that there's one there. And when I find it, being like, oh man, this is it. This is the one, only to open it up and figure out that mine has a bad face. And then not buying it. I'm not saying we haven't lost certain things with going online. Chances are, when you buy online, the person that picks this off the shelf or whatever, the picker or whatever, doesn't care about the condition of your collector's item. Most of them don't care. Most of them are not collectors themselves. They're warehouse workers that have a screen, and that screen tells them, pick item 94721. There it is. Put up, ship it. That's their job. They don't care. And because of that, quality control issues and whatnot seem like they're a little more regular, and it's kind of become more regular online to get something and then you get it home, and then like there's like that weird black dot of paint, like the smudge on the leg, definitely not the one you would have picked if you would have went to the store and found 4 or 5 of them sitting there. You'd have looked through and found the one that you thought had the best color variation. It's true. It is what it is now. And I think it has changed us, and it has altered the way that we buy, and it has made toy hunting in person feel worse. It's true. And I could sit here and I can wax nostalgic about it all night. But I could also tell you that at the same time, there is something, unless you allow yourself to get lost in it, watch yourself. Don't make stupid decisions. But if you want Conan stuff, you don't have to come about it by chance. You go buy Conan stuff. Then you have Conan stuff. Then you enjoy Conan stuff. By the way, I like to buy Conan stuff. Like, if you want the Phoenix, you buy the Phoenix. There are problems with it. We've seen those problems. We know that time and time and time again, we want to go out and we want to buy something, and we get on the pre-order, and they completely underestimate the pre-order, and the pre-order's up for like all of 2.5 minutes if you're lucky, and you don't get it. I still do not have that Wonder Woman. I am still complaining about it. I know. But it feels like the one item that I missed out on. Like, sure, I missed a lot of other DC Multiverse, but that Wonder Woman hit. I mean, it really felt like I missed something. And she never came back in any meaningful way. I never saw her at the stores, ever. I never saw her at a Target. I never saw her at Walmart. I've never seen her at a convention. I have never, ever seen that figure in person, ever. Ever. Not even once. Ever. I've never even seen her overpriced somewhere. Like sitting on a convention table where some guy's asking 180 or something like that. Never seen her at all, as if she doesn't even exist. And then I waited patiently saying, you make a sculpt that good, you reuse it. I'll wait. We got the patina color Wonder Woman. That's what we got. I waited and waited and waited, and his line is basically done. We are at the butt crack end. And that's all we got. Patina-colored statue Wonder Woman. Reuse of that body. That kills me. Now we even just got a Flash. A JLA Flash. We did not get a JLA Wonder Woman. That's a perfect time to reuse that body and maybe swap out the head sculpt. But it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Also, they just did... This just finished. They did the Justice League Task Force video game figures, of which they reused that body completely to give us the JLA Flash. You recognize that? That's what Flash that is. They took that body and they just gave it to us as that Flash, which is fine, because the only reason I didn't get that Flash was because, yes, it was Wally West. It was the one I wanted, but it was the JLA one, and it was pixelated, and that bugged me a little bit, so I left it alone. They didn't do a Wonder Woman for that. She's in that game. She's in that game. They did almost the entire Justice League that's in that game, minus that Wonder Woman, when they have a perfect sculpt for it. So yes, I am still salty about it. And part of it is that the hunt has changed. So yes, to answer your question, sometimes I do feel like toy hunting has gotten worse. But I also have to be honest with myself about everything we gained from going online and just finding and ordering and experimenting expanding our knowledge and love of the things that we want overall. But that's everything I have on that subject. It's a lot. But yes, Zesray Studios has one. We are going to open Gold Hilder. That's going to be the first one for tonight. This I am looking forward to. Like, holy crap. This looks like a fantastic figure. And it's going to be on the new camera. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Hopefully, this is a home run in both. And I don't know exactly. We'll get into it as we get into it, because let's do it. Zesray Studio, Gold Hilder, exclusive Big Bad Toy Store, Fight for Glory, Combatants. This is the first one I have ever bought from Zesray Studio. Back when I very first found these guys, there was one figure I wanted that caught my attention. And I almost bought her. But by the time I realized that it was something that I even could do, she left the market. She was gone. And I was like, oh crap, that sucks. And I didn't get the chance to get her. Like, it really did hit. It hit in a very specific way. I was sad face about it, okay? Because I knew that this was something, this speaks to me, this kind of stuff. I love the whole barbarian thing. So the figures that they were putting out, they were fantastic. And they did a couple of things that other companies seem to be afraid of. Nope, don't do that. Don't do that, camera. Back up. No, don't. Back up. Don't do that. I'm going to have to learn about that as I move my hands. This is going to be weird. I'm going to fight with this camera for a little bit until maybe I even have to turn the gestures off. We'll figure that out as we go. But here's the thing. These are some things that I absolutely have been looking forward to. This is me 100%. But this company pulled no punches. It was a 100% adult collector's line. The uniforms and whatnot are interchangeable. The bodies and everything even have, we'll just call it what it is, nude sculpts. That doesn't seem like a big deal unless you're somebody like me. I like fantasy art. Okay? I do. I got a Vallejo calendar. All right? That's the kind of person I am. I like this kind of stuff. And the thing about barbarian figures is that for the longest time, the biggest thing on the market was He-Man. And He-Man, because of what it is, does pull its punches a bit. It never gets quite hardcore. It gets close. There's some really cool stuff there. But they always walk that line and they keep it friendly barbarian. Very cool, but friendly barbarian. It's not quite what I want. I like Conan the Barbarian. I like fantasy art. I like low fantasy. I like what I'll call brutal fantasy. Part of that is sometimes the kinds of creatures and situations that we have, and part of it can very much be a more adult lean. None of these figures seemed like they had the testicular fortitude to just go all out with it and do what it is. Then, like I said, I found Zesray. I missed out on the figure that I wanted. And I said to myself, either she will come back into rotation, or they will release something else and it will catch my attention. I have a collection rule. It's very simple. It has bit my butt sometimes, but I live by it and I swear by it. Because markets are so big and there's so much to choose from, you get one chance. Regardless of how that might sound, you get one chance. The first Mezco I bought was a Wonder Woman. I was disappointed. After that, I dropped Mezco and I went looking at other things. Now, I did come back to Mezco later on. I got some word that people told me that Wonder Woman has problems. It's a known issue. They have gotten really good, blah, 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 this and that. I definitely missed out on some stuff that I would like. Give it another shot. So when they released their King Conan, I activated my second rule. I have two major rules here. One, you get one shot. I test your line. If it blows up in my face, I move on. There's so many hundreds of other things out there to be interested in and to get. I don't need to waste my entire life chasing figures that I might not like. I'm sorry. That's the way that it is. You get one shot. My second rule, if you do a Conan, I am interested. Conan or Red Sonja, I will give you a shot, but that comes with an even higher stipulation. Where sometimes if I pass by a company and then I try something out, maybe it's not as good as I want, but I might try them again down the line. If you release a Conan and you screw it up, I'm done. It's like a personal attack to me. It's a feeling that I have. Look, I like Cloud and I like Tifa, okay? If I buy a Cloud and he's not that good, and I buy a Tifa and it's not that good, and then I see later on that you've kind of done another Cloud and Tifa, and these ones do look better than the original, you might still get my attention. You screw up a Conan, I'm done. It's a weird end of the line type of thing with me. This is one of my all-time favorite things, and I don't want anything substandard piece of crap Conan on my shelf. So if I buy a Conan from you, I'm giving you the one last chance. That's happened a couple times. What kept me buying Super 7? It was this guy. This guy is a better standard of Super 7 than most of the other Super 7 figures that I had seen at the time. That is a very good King Conan. I enjoyed it quite a lot. And it gave them enough leeway for me to try out a lot of other Super 7 stuff. Well, because my rule works the way it does, once I missed out on the one that I wanted, I did not try again until something caught my eye. So I missed out on a lot of Zesray Studio. I seen them every now and then, but I said, oh, Minotaur Man, kind of cool. Oh, big barbarian gladiator guy, kind of cool. You definitely have my attention, but is that a first buy-in, $80 drop here? Maybe? I don't know. Let's keep waiting. Something will catch my eye, and boy, did it. When I saw the promotional pictures for Gold Hilder, I was taken aback. This looked like one of the best barbarian figures that I had ever seen. Literally ever. So, they released the pre-orders, and I was there in the first 30 seconds and bought it. It's right here. I did not realize at the time that it was exclusive. I did not realize, I don't know how it is exclusive. It says Event 2025. It's supposedly an event figure. It's exclusive, the one that I got. I've noticed other people having theirs. So how is mine different? I don't know. Is mine actually different in some way? I mean, if it's exclusive, do I get... Is there accessories that didn't come with the other ones? I have no idea. 100% honest, I don't know what is exclusive about this, because I've seen that other people were able to buy her from other locations. I'm almost 100% positive of that. And if that's true, what is special here? Is she darker complexion, lighter complexion? Is that the argument? Does she come with something else? I have no idea. What I know is that I have Gold Hilder. This is their shot. I'm in now. If this passes the test, I will be interested in buying more Zesray. If this fails, I will walk away from Zesray Studio for a while, and I may not come back for another who knows, 2 years or whatever, until they once again catch me with something. But for right now, that's the way that I feel about it, and that's why it took me so long to get in. So this has an oversleeve. Let's remove that sleeve. There's her. And we'll let that camera focus in there. That looks fantastic. I mean, it really does. And then turning around to the side art right there. Very, very cool. Very Skyrim kind of feeling, right? I kind of like that. Their logo. Top is this. Bottom is this. If anybody has interest in this stuff, I know some people do. I don't exactly know why people want that sometimes, but some people want that. There. And there she is. And there I am, because you can see me in the reflection of all my information. But we're going to take her out of here, and then we'll know exactly what she really looks like. I have high hopes here. I don't know what I should exactly expect, but I have high hopes. Let's open her. All right. Well, she comes with a lot of stuff. So let's just put that out there to begin with. She comes with this sword sheath. And she comes with this sword, which is a pretty good sword, to be fair. It's pretty good. It's got a decent amount of detail. The sheath is nice. The sword fits it. No problems there. She's got this axe, which is pretty cool. It's weathered and everything, which I like a lot. It's got good color and everything to it. She's got a smaller axe, which I also like as well. Like I said, it's kind of weathered. It's got a look to it. She comes with a knife, which I don't know if she has anything on her person yet to hold that knife. I will know as we go. She comes with this helmet, which is very much like something straight out of Skyrim. Then she comes with 2 feet, 2 naked feet, And then she comes with a slew of hands. Kind of like relaxed hands, open hands, punches, and then the hands that are actually on the figure. And she comes with this and this, which is, to me, is a very cool, like Red Sonja-esque kind of thing where you got like the fabric and whatnot, it lays over her and then the wind blows, and like that's very cool to me. It looks like the snap as well. So it looks like there's a little bitty snap here. And yes, it does. So there's a snap there, which I find that to be very interesting. That's very cool. And let's do it. Let's see her. There she is. That is Goldhilder. And I have a couple of different questions about her. And we're going to start figuring them out right now. I'm curious about head movement. Oh, okay. Nice. I was worried about the hair. The hair feels very stiff. Okay? Like it doesn't feel like there's way too much give, but it feels like the front hair area gets out of her way easily. And I think the hair is layered. I think that is a different layer than this, which is interesting. That's actually really, really cool. All of her armor is real armor. And what I mean by that is, like I said, this company tends to do nude bodies and then place all the stuff on top, which is actually really cool because it adds a level of realism to all the gear that they wear and also allows you to do fantasy-esque pictures, which is really cool. And if you're misunderstanding when I say fantasy, I mean fantasy art. I'm not talking about another kind of fantasy. I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't know what it is. This feels good. Like, the joints and everything, there's very little resistance, but they feel tight. They feel like when I move them, they're going to hold their look. They're not giving me problems. In fact, this is normally something I would be against. That's a 90-degree elbow. Normally I have real problems with the 90 degrees because we as people, that double elbow joint, I prefer that in my figures because we as people do this. We don't stop here. Our bone structure doesn't go up. And I think that it hurts for things like, you can't really take a sword like this or something like that, which was an argument that Brutal Realms has made when they're building their figures. They specifically said one of the things that bothers them about a lot of barbarian figures is they never move right. They're like big, bulky men that can't, move their arms and whatnot. They don't have fully posable bodies. And that is a problem of the barbarian lines that we've seen over and over and over again. I like that this doesn't feel too restrictive, but I am still going to mention that it is. It is a 90 degree, it goes that far, and it stops her movement. It doesn't go further. I'm pushing on it a little bit, but I am trying to be careful. But there is a lot here, more than I would have expected. And like I said, as I'm moving her around, I'm not feeling any real hard resistance that makes me feel like she won't be able to move, but I'm also not feeling anything that feels so loose that she won't be able to hold poses. I'm not okay, normally with a figure like this, you get them and you kind of gotta break them in. You start to move them a little bit and you can hear them crack, and you're you think, this doesn't feel like that. This feels, for lack of a word, this feels quality. I am impressed, actually. I am literally impressed with the amount of movement that I'm getting, the very little restriction that I am receiving. Does she have a lower? I can't tell if she has... Oh, yep, she has some sort of lower movement, but I can't tell exactly how that movement works. Her upper torso moves, and there's nothing in the way. I'm going to do a minor peek. Okay, She's got underwear on, so we're safe. I don't see anything though in terms of. I think that this part is solid, so that is a thing. And all of this armor can be taken off. We're not going to do that in this stream. But maybe I will do another video with her later that specifically is under the grounds of I know that I will be instantly demonetized. Let's see everything that she is. Maybe I will do that later to really get an idea of just how much they went into detail, like what you can get away with, what kind of pictures and whatnot you could take and everything. Or maybe I'll just do pictures. I don't know. Like, she feels fantastic. And she's not cliche. I don't know. That's one of the best ways I can explain her. She doesn't feel cliche. She feels like she's kind of built, like she is actually a warrior woman. That's cool. And I like that face, man. Just that no BS face. Also on her back, there is a spot for that blade. So let's show her off now. Let's see how this works, okay? There, zoom in. There she is. Come on, focus on her. There. That's her. That is very, very solid. I like this a lot. Like, she looks fantastic, guys. That is very, very, very impressive. And I'm also impressed with the amount of coloring detail. Like on the fur and everything. Look at all the fur and how it like... It is plastic. They don't do like faux fur or anything like that. But they keep her... The color variation and whatnot, like for the scales here and everything like that. The leather band, the boots, everything about her is really, really good. I am remarkably impressed. This is done very, very well. I gotta hand it to them. They have my attention here. And I haven't even done anything serious yet. The hair has wash. Every now and then I pay money, okay? And I'll be perfectly honest. I pay money and I feel like, sure, I'm happy with what I got, but would I ever recommend it to somebody? And I have to say no. I have to say, look, this is what it costs. This is going to be up to you to figure out. I'm going to be honest with you. This is impressive work. Very impressive work. Like, I am surprised, literally surprised at the level of quality that I feel here. It is very hard to explain, but let me put it this way. This figure right here feels fantastic in the hand. Like the way it moves, the way it holds together, the way it doesn't resist, but at the same time doesn't feel loose or disjointed at all. And the amount of color and effort that went into it. And then we have a Play Arts Kai. Play Arts Kai figures are over the $100 range. Over. On the average. You're hearing it, right? They got like clicks. Like, you see that? I'm not saying that it's necessarily bad, but like look at the face here and things like that, and you'll kind of get what I'm getting at. It feels a certain kind of way. Come on, cover me up. There we go. The hair is not as impressive. The way it discolors in the joints, I don't see that with this. I don't see that in the knees here. where that stays the one color. I don't feel that when I pull this down or anything like that. Everything, this right here is what quality feels like. I mean, it's literally that simple. This right here is what quality feels like. So many times you buy a figure and it's good, but there's always something that you know they can improve. Like, I've made argument over and over and over again about G.I. Joe. I think G.I. Joe is a very solid line right now. But that doesn't change the fact that every now and then I get them and the legs feel gummy. The arm doesn't feel quite right. The torso kind of feels a little weird or like doesn't hold. Nothing on this figure. Nothing on this figure feels like that. Maybe I got very lucky. Nothing on here feels cheap. Nothing feels loose. Nothing feels like it won't hold position. And nothing feels so tight that I'm afraid to move it. That is incredible. Incredible. Because I can't tell you over and over and over again that we've gotten figures and I'm like, oh, his knee's a little tough. I don't really want to force it right now. And then literally after the show, I will take them and like heat them up under the hairdryer and whatnot and then like crack them out and whatnot and kind of get them started. That was not needed for this at all. I am impressed. Does this just go on her head? No. I think the hair... Oh, I was right. This hair comes off, which aside from the dot on the top of the head, she kind of looks cool like that too. And then this can go right down onto her face. Oh, and it looks good too. Like, it looks good. Look at that helmet. And you can see her eyes in there and everything. I am impressed. That's, all right. They have my attention. I already have pre-ordered, I think, 2 or 3 other figures from this line that were all hinging on how she performed. I have no such worries at all now. I am curious. We're going to button this and see how it looks. Check that out. Is that not cool? Like where you can bring it up here and everything and you can like have it. Like this is exactly what I'm talking about. This right here, I will reuse this on some of my Red Sonja figures. I will... Stop following me around, camera. This is good. I am thoroughly impressed here. And it doesn't have to be buttoned. And it doesn't have to be the big one either. Because she has this smaller one that also can go on. And it snaps right around here. And it's this kind of an effect. It's very much a skin, like she hunted something, she killed something, she skinned something. This is what barbarian figures should be. It's very simple. And I will also give it to, this feels like better quality, I'm going to say it, this feels like better quality than Frazetta Icons. But Frazetta Icons is also in the right place for what barbarian figures should be. I think that they're going in the right direction, and I hope, stop following me, camera. I hope that they get better as they go. So, we've added her to the shelf and fought with the camera. So far, it's a good episode. Stop following me, camera. Stop it. Thank you. No, you listen here. Now back up. Stay that way. We're going to put her to the side. And we're going to set up the next and go to the chat. So let me set up the next question here. Yeah, the camera is literally going to be something. I may have to turn off some features. I was hoping that it would give us good leeway, though, for like the zoom ins and whatnot. Maybe I will just have to. I wonder if I can disable certain features, but not all of them. I'll figure it out as we go. I know we did that. So we are on. We have that's ready to go. We have that's ready to go. Oh, okay. And then there, that should be the next run right there. And let's go up and see how things are going. Marvel Legends Grizzly went up for pre-order the other day. Kind of surprised he sold out. Given how minor of a villain he is. Is he gone? Because the last time I looked, he was actually still available, which was actually what was shocking me, because he was like up for a while. Like a good while. Longer than I expected him to be available, but I don't see him on the main list right now. So yeah, you think you're right. Kind of scanning down. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he must have sold out. Unless this is just an X-Men tab that I clicked on here. There sure is a lot, though. You got to hand it to, I don't know if just Marvel Legends is not selling the way that it used to, but like, look, you could still get that Phoenix, that Deluxe Phoenix, which if you don't have that Deluxe Phoenix, that Phoenix that's a showstopper Phoenix. Maximum Hulk is still around. You could still get Shuma Gorath, and yes, that's his name, that's what I'm calling him. You can still get the Born Again Daredevil. Heck, that Punisher Nick Fury pack is still up. I'm impressed by that. Battle Damage Spider-Man is still up. Like, so much stuff is available. It kind of surprises me, if you want the truth about it. Like, it really surprises me in some cases, in all honesty. Because some of this stuff, I expect that it shows up and disappears. And at the rate that they're going, I expect him to come back. I almost bought him. I did not. Yes, Grizzly is kind of I'm going to call him a C, if not an E-list character. I never expected to see a Grizzly. But I do like that they included the other head, because you could use him as a type of werebear for barbarian shots, or you also could use him as who was that? It was from New Mutants. There was a Grizzly man type of thing. Was it Ursa Major? Ursa Major? I think that head is meant to be him. Yeah, so like stuff like that kind of caught my attention. If he comes back around and I actually have the means, he's interesting. Because I think he's a multi-purpose type of thing that you could use. But yeah, I am actually surprised that he sold out. While at the same time, online ordering for toys is the thing nowadays. That's the only way I can order third-party stuff. Toy hunting for me sucks. There's never anything I like or need They have had the same toys at my store for like 6 or 7 months. Yes, peg warming right now is hardcore. Like, the stuff goes into the stores, the people that want it buy it, and I mean, it just sits there forever. Look how long Lando was on the shelves. Like, holy crap. We always see the same figures all the time. It does really kick. Like, it's not good. It messes up the hobby. If you are a toy hunter that likes to find stuff in person, it is harder to do now, and for all the reasons that we previously discussed. Found one store with some items, but they were very overpriced. I've never seen one. I think that was some of the stuff that I was bringing up, like Super 7 and whatnot. At my Walmart, I only saw the Jada Toys Street Fighter stuff, like Bison and Guile, barely any Marvel Legends. Only Marvel Legend was the MCU Saga figures. Yeah, and I don't want basically any of those. Bro, that DC Multiverse hurts my wallet. When a figure I want sells out instantly and you gotta go into eBay, yes. Yes. To the point where most of the time, if it goes to the aftermarket, if it goes to eBay, I won't even touch it. Like, I kind of got like a rule that I try to stick to. Every now and then I will break it. I'm human. What can I say? But I have a pretty hard rule about that. The most I will usually ever pay for a figure on the aftermarket is double the price. I don't like it, but every now and then, if you have a $20 or $30 figure and they're asking $60 and there is no other way to get it and they're not going to be coming back, on the rare occasion, and it is pretty rare, I will do it. But it is very rare that you'll get me to do that. If you go up to 3 times the value or something even slightly above 2 times, chances are you're going to sit on that inventory forever. I don't want it. That is a big part of the reason why I have not bought that Wonder Woman on a third-party market. But they keep them Pokemon cards and box sets on the shelves. Oh, that Pokemon came back so hard. Like, it had a massive, like, resurgence. It came back so hard. Everybody wants it all of a sudden. I'm surprised they haven't done re-releases. Yeah, look, and it's not just that Wonder Woman. I'm surprised that a lot of stuff from the McFarlane thing, look, this is your last couple months having it. I'm surprised that you didn't look through your numbers, see where like some stuff probably would double sell and just re-release and go for broke. Because I think some stuff that he did, like I think the Starfire would sell again. I really do. That Wonder Woman I think would sell again. I really do. And then I've heard people that like certain figures that they want. Like, I do believe that there are still figures that fetch a high enough price that with a re-release, he could bank. I really do. How much did it hurt seeing the HasLab Ecto 1 reviews? I haven't actually watched any of them. I passed on that. That was a lot of money for me, even though there was some things about it that I definitely would have liked. But I did pass on it. And I have yet to see anybody's review on it. But I haven't gone out of my way looking for any of them either. Maybe I should. I'd be interested to see what I missed out on. It doesn't hit me the same way sometimes. Like with something like that, you would think that I would be like, oh yeah, I don't even want to see him because I'm never going to own it or whatever. But like with something like that, I think I would still enjoy seeing what I missed out on and being like, that is cool, or oh man, I'm glad I didn't do it, or whatever. But I don't feel like it would put me in a spot where I'd be like, the hard FOMO about it. Like, man, I wish I would have, because like I know the decision I made and I know why I made it, and it just doesn't. I don't think it hits the way that I feel that some people feel like it would. It's time to go out with a bang. Let's see. I just got Flash today. I did as well. Both of them. Todd has never done reissues. He'll do repaints 100%, but never reissues. And I hate some of his repaints. Sometimes I'm like, hey, that's kind of clever. But a lot of the times I am not happy with them. Like Ice Blue guys, those patina statue guys, I don't want nothing to do with that. Like literally nothing. Hey, what's going on, man? I'm still waiting for mine to show up at the door. Well, she is fantastic. This figure is awesome. Let's see. Pre-ordered some of the Tamashii Nation's effects for photography. Looking to get more into that for this year. Next, I'll be looking for a light box too. That's pretty cool. There's a couple of things that I would like to get a little more serious with in terms of my photography. Like, but I don't know how to explain this. I know how to do photography pretty well. I've done it professionally. But when it comes to my action figure photography, I've tended to notice that I like more subtle tricks and I like to just kind of have fun with it, and I don't get too serious. I've noticed that, and I don't know what that is about me exactly. But like I've noticed that if I get super serious about it, it somehow removes some of the fun for me. So I kind of play around with how serious I want to get with it at one point or another. However, I will say in terms of action figure photography, I've also noticed that I have one thing, and it's minor, but I notice it. Say I was to do pictures of her, okay? And I will. I already know that I will. If I do pictures of her, okay, I can tell you right now, one of the things I won't do that I'm watching certain photographers do, and this is a minor thing, but it is driving me crazy. They will put this figure out, take the picture, then they will go in and edit the seams out. I hate that. It's a personal thing. It's a personal preference. Your art and your hobby is your art and your hobby, and do what you're going to do, and don't worry about what this guy has to say. Okay? But on a personal level, if I do pictures with this figure, what you would see from my shots would still very much be the figure. I don't edit out the seams, and I'm not interested in doing anything like that. See, to me, action figure photography is making a really cool image, really cool pose, really cool dynamic moment from the figure itself. That's what I'm interested in doing. That's what interests me about the entirety of the hobby, is making that figure seem pretty cool in the shot that you did. When it crosses a boundary, though, and they start like editing out seams and removing joints, at that point, it changes what it is that we're looking at. You're no longer showing me how cool that figure can be. You're showing me what you wish the figure was. And oddly enough, you already had that option. If you like her, she's right next to me, so we're just going to keep grabbing her. If you liked her, if you really liked her, right? And you thought that she was amazing and you wanted to do some shots with her, but you don't like the fact that she has seams, buy a seamless female body. What was that company? Or was it a company, or was it just called, what are they called, like Fison or whatever? Is buy one of those. Put the clothes on it. Put the head on it. Like, you can make whatever you want from those seamless female bodies that they sell. there's seamless male and female bodies that you can buy that have like an exoskeleton on the inside and whatnot. If that's what you want, is a seamless figure, you could just buy that and do cool shots with that. Something about it feels disingenuous, and it actually puts me off of people's work. Because I look at a lot of action figure photography. I like it. I enjoy it. Everything from the simple, where guys are just like doing poses. They're just like, check out all these cool poses I do. To people that are literally just starting out. And they're like, I really like this guy. I've got like a couple of cool poses I've been able to do. And you can look right at it, and you've been doing posing a little more than them. And you can be like, he's on track. He's getting there. It's a pretty cool figure. I hope he kind of works with it for a while. Like, I like that stuff. But something about, like, altering it kind of takes away from being what I kind of see as a cool, being a cool advertisement of the figure, and becomes just another hardcore photoshopped work. And something about it bothers me. I don't know exactly what it is. That's the best way I can explain it. But whenever I see it, whenever it happens, it bothers me enough that I actually find myself like going, I'm going to find something else to look at. I know that's a minor thing. And for some people, they're like going, who cares? And I can 100% get on board with who cares. Because like for some people, I fully understand that why does it matter at all? I get it, but that's kind of my personal preference when I look at that kind of stuff, like how it makes me feel. Okay, so we have... Oops. And what did I forget? Oh! I forgot he was over here. There. Yeah, that's definitely for a different stream. I try to keep, for what it's worth, I realize that unlike my other show that I did for a very long time, where I kind of allowed myself to get ridiculous and fall into the moment and be that way, unless I'm really revved up, I'm not really that kind of person. You know what I mean? So, like, I found that a lot of people watch this show, and I don't know if your kids are in the room or something like that. So while I don't shy away from human adult conversations, I kind of try to keep it to a certain level that you could watch this and not worry about, that kind of situation. And then on other videos, I might say something at the very beginning like, we are going to do this or talk about this, and I think that's the way to be right now. Because I remember a lot of people would sometimes tell me with the old shows and whatnot that they liked my stuff, but they couldn't really watch it because their kids were around or because they were doing this or because parents or yada yada. They live with somebody and it annoys them or something. I get it. So I kind of try to keep this show a little more to my actual mainline personality and not get all ridiculous. And some of the stuff, like when we're looking at a figure that very much is like this Gold Hilder, that's for a different kind of video. These lives, not really the place to strip Gold Hilder, if you know what I'm saying. I love it when swords actually fit into the sheaths. The separate handles that companies make, I hate that. I know what you're talking. Yeah, the separate hand, I don't like that either. 100%, yes. Camera's like, no, I don't want to. Dude, this camera just... So I know some of the features for the camera. I have learned them offhand, just by messing around. I know that there's a feature where the camera follows you, and I know that in order to do it, you hold up a 5 and you wait. The camera blinks blue, and now it will follow me wherever I go. If we lean over here, or if I go over here, if I back up, if I move forward, it tries to keep me in the middle of the frame. Woo! And if I do this again, it will then cancel that and go back to stationary. I also know that if you want to zoom in the camera, you do this. Then it zooms way in. And then you can see Wolverine over there. And then if I want to zoom back out, I do that and it zooms all the way. I think there's also a crop function where I think I can do something like this. Yeah. So, like, I know there are options, but I talk with my hands. So I may have to go in and disable certain functions to actually have this camera, but I really like the camera so far. Extreme close-up. Whoa. With the prices lately, I'm not surprised. The prices are too high for Marvel Legends that they are yeah, right. No, absolutely. Too close to each other. Demon Bear. Demon Bear is from New Mutants. Right, I thought his name was like Ursa Major or something like that. Can't work as Demon Bear, as Demon Bear is massive and looks more like an actual bear than the grizzly Ursa Major buck. Okay. Demon Bear would literally have to be made to order due to how big he's supposed to be. Okay. It's crazy how there's two options for a figure in stores. Either one, it's doomed to sit on the shelf forever, or two, scalpers, yeah, absolutely. The reselling market has gotten way out of hand, if we're being perfectly honest. And I don't have any answers for that, in all honesty, except for people's decency. I'm sorry, it doesn't tend to exist. At least when it comes to something like that. Let's see. Bill, did you see the Mega Man X MDLX01? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I actually saw that on Big Bad an hour ago. Wasn't it? I guess it was about an hour and a half ago. Yes. He looks good. Right now, I'm very focused on just getting the figures from Jada. I'm worried about starting a second Mega Man line. I've only got the money I've got. And there are certain things right now that I'm following very in depth, and that kind of spreads my money thin. So, yeah. That's the reason I see them, but I haven't been touching any of them. Scalpers have their hands tied up when no one is going to be willing to buy the overpriced resold product that they are peddling going forward. And I have argued that for a long time. Let them sit on that stock. I know that we want it. I'm right there with you. You don't think that if somebody came up to me and actually had that Wonder Woman in hand and handed it to me and said $100, that it wouldn't at least cross my mind? I'm be perfectly honest with you. Would I do it? No. No, I think in all honesty, even with her, I would stick to my rule. But I would be lying to you if I told you that it would not cross my mind, because it would. However, let them sit on that stock for years if that's what it takes. And let them bleed their own profit dry until they have no choice but to just go ahead and part with it for $20 or whatnot at an auction, at like a table, at a toy table, just to get their space back. Play the long game. Do not buy scalper prices. Let them eat it. It will suck because this is our hobby and they're trying to make it their business, don't let them do that. That Batman Arkham Knight Over Zero Arkham Knight 1... Dude, it does look cool. I did see that. Seen the Batman Arkham Origins in art, but man, yeah, he's expensive. He's real money. I also like that Bio Booster Armor Guyver X... I saw... I know what you're talking about. I don't think I've ever owned anything Guyver. Aside from Guyver, like I had the movies at one point, I don't think I've ever owned anything Guyver. Ever. Like, I really don't. I really don't think so. Let's see. Brown Suit Wolverine from Deadpool and Wolverine will be my next figure. I'm leaving him to chance. The Brown Suit Wolverine looks good, movie version. I'm interested. Most of the MCU figures I pass on. But if I came across him out in the wild and I had the money, maybe at like one of the conventions or something, I would be interested. I don't know, but I would be interested. Ursa Major is a member of the Winter Guard. Okay. See, I thought... It's been a very long time. I thought I remembered him being involved with the New Mutants years ago. But I also will never come on here and claim to be an expert, because I'm not. Like, I know the things I know, and then when I don't know, I'm not ashamed to tell you that there are a million things out there to know, and I don't know all of them. I hoped Gambit would be in the new Deadpool and Wolverine wave, but he's not. I'm actually surprised that... I wonder if they're holding back on him for a reason. I can't say so yet, but I feel like they need kind of like a guaranteed for every wave, and right now they just kind of hammered out 2 solid waves with the Deadpool waves, and now they've got to do a 3rd wave, and there's only so much left that you can do, and I wonder if they're keeping him back to kind of guarantee that wave 3 has like a, this is what people want kind of thing. I'm kind of surprised that brown and yellow suit Wolverine hasn't sold out on Big Bad Toy Store. I am too, but I was actually just talking about that. I'm surprised that the amount of stock on Big Bad and other realtors right now is as high as it is. Like, there's a lot of Marvel Legends that you can just get right now. They're just out there. They're available. You can just get them. Cassandra Nova and X-23 sold out instantly. Right. That's because he's rumored to be in the Avengers Doomsday toy line. Would be interesting. Depending on how that goes over, that could be interesting. Maybe they're saving Gambit for the Doomsday wave. Right. And that's what was just said there, too. So 2099 has actually won. That's interesting. Like, legit, I am surprised. Okay. That was hard. What can I say? Okay, let's do it. Didn't quite work the way that I wanted. But you know what? I'm not reflipping. Let's just go. Spider-Man 2099. Yes. I don't have a 2099. And yes, I am a Spider Putz. And of course, I was going to buy this. For me, 2099, in terms of comic book stuff, was a 90s gimmick. and personally, not a good one. Look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it bothers you. I'm sorry if you loved the 2099 stuff. But 2099 Conan, Laser Sword Conan in the future, which is kind of written really bad, by the way. 2099 Doom, 2099 Hulk, 2099 Thor. It just... I'm sorry. It never felt like anything I cared about. I bought the first 25, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 25 issues of Spider-Man 2099. And when I first saw it, I thought that it was a Spider-Man, the same guy that we already knew, but for some reason all these heroes had been transported into the future. That's what I thought was about to happen. What I did not know was that this is not Peter Parker. At least not until I started reading the book. Did that bother me? No. There are some characters that I feel are who they are. And as you alter them, it gets iffy. Batman is one of those characters that you alter his look and you alter his story, and it doesn't seem to hurt him. They've been doing it literally since his creation. And in all honesty, I see the Batman as a mantle that can be passed. I know some people are 100% Bruce Wayne, and I get it, but it actually does not bother me when Bruce dies and we have a Batman and Robin book that runs for a while where it is Dick Grayson. It actually feels like a natural progression of that hero. That doesn't bother me. 2099 distanced himself just enough and made just enough sense that I bought it. That simple. It really is that simple. He was a different guy. There was the science experiment. Situations took place. In case you've never read it, I'm going to kind of skim this pretty hardcore. Situations took place. Accident, maybe. Accident leads to powers. He just so happens to have a suit. And he takes that suit and he basically becomes that Spider-Man. His powers are samey, but different. Cool. 100%. I'm on board. You have sold me. You don't have to try that hard. Most everything else that I was reading, though, that was coming out 2099. Because when the Spider-Man worked, I said, oh, okay, cool. What else can they do? Not much, if I'm being perfectly honest. 2099 has the 90s written all over it. And it gets even more complicated when for some reason a lot of people when I was growing up, and I still hear this today, think that Spider-Man Unlimited is Spider-Man 2099. It's not. It's not. That cartoon is not 2099 Spider-Man. It's not the same thing. No. This is iconic. I have always liked this look. I have always thought that this was really cool. And they just hit the ground with this one 100%. But I bet you most of the people that see this costume and that use it in video games and things like that probably never read this. Because I could tell you that even the Spider-Man, going back and reading it again, it suffers from a lot of 90s. It does. There are parts of it that work, and then there are parts of it that are very, very 90s, and they just don't hit well for me. Not anymore. Does that make me dislike this? No, I still very much do like 2099. I see it as a historical part of Spider-Man and an iconic part of Spider-Man, and so I bought him. The cross-sell. Spider-Man 2099. Yes. Uncanny Spider-Man Nightcrawler. I don't want it. I just don't want it. I don't care. A Spider-Putz, yes. I will call myself that because I've bought Spider-Man over and over and over and over and over and over and over, sometimes for very minor upgrades, and I'm very aware of what I'm doing. But that doesn't mean that I need everything. Like Spider-Venom. I don't need Spider-Venom. I never read whatever that is. I have no attachment to whatever that is. I see the costume. It looks kind of cool. Spider-Man with chains, I guess. I'm sorry. I don't care. Marvel's Owl. I was real close to buying that. It's a Daredevil villain. He kind of hits back to the golden age of comics in terms of Marvel. Like, it's kind of very interesting that he exists at all. It's kind of a cool idea. I left him to fate, but I was real close. I really was, because like the owl, I never thought that they would make the owl. But they did. I had to ask myself a couple questions. Do I really want the owl? Kind of? For like Daredevil Yellow type of ideas? But then like, do I? And that's kind of what made me step away from him, and we'll see what happens. Hypno Hustler. First off, I never thought we would see a Hypno Hustler, okay? Never. Never in my life did I think there would be Hypno Hustler. You gotta hand it to how deep Marvel is willing to go. And look, Cardiac? That's sick. And he's done very well. Did I get any of these? No. Spider-Man 2099. That is all I wanted from this wave. But those are my overall thoughts on the wave. I don't know if I will ever have another reason to talk about this wave, so I figured we'd run the cross-sell. And I figured I'd talk a little bit about 2099, how I feel about it, and how it definitely is not something... If you said, Bill, they released a compendium where you could spend $280 and have all the... I don't care. I don't want them. It's not... I don't care. I don't care. Let's open 2099. Okay, so, first off, I am going to call something out on this Spider-Man. It's something very simple, but I'm going to call it out. Wall-crawling hands. These are wrong. Expression grippy hands. These are wrong. Punching hands, these are right. What am I talking about? In case you have no history with 2099, 2099's power set is similar to Spider-Man's. It is not Spider-Man's power set. 2099 doesn't stick to walls so much as he has talons on his feet and hands that allow him to dig into walls. he has these little like claws that come out like right here. And he can grab onto things. And in the book, he even grabbed somebody and accidentally ripped out their neck. That's a real thing that happens in the book. And it doesn't happen... Back up, camera. It doesn't happen on this figure because all of his hands are regular Spider-Man hands. Does that matter? No. But because I always see people that like freak out about like what something is missing or whatever, or claim that something is wrong or yada yada, for you, the figure is wrong. Just gonna say that. The figure is wrong. I like that his arms can go back like this because he is actually known for having jumping off like tall building structures, and he does like this free fall type of thing. This was like an actual thing that he used to do where he would free fall like this, and then he would kind of open himself up as he went down, kind of allow himself to glide a bit, and then he would like I said, he had spider strength and things, but then he would open his hands up and he would kind of like grab onto the buildings, and kind of sometimes he'd skid down a little bit because of his momentum and whatnot. Sometimes he wouldn't stop right off the bat and things like that. And also, if you play like the video game Shattered Dimensions, they kind of feed back into that, and they would have him do things like that free fall thing, which was kind of cool for the game and whatnot. He looks fantastic, and as far as I could tell, he is on, I think that is the Renew Your Vows body, which is good because that's a good body. That's a good body. That's still my favorite Spider-Man that I have on my shelf. I would argue, and like I said, I've said this a couple of times, the Maximum Spider-Man arguably is the best Spider-Man they have done. Does not make it my favorite. This body, this Spider-Man, is my favorite. And here, he looks fantastic. He looks absolutely fantastic. Get a look at that guy. He's done very, very well. And because he's on the body that he's on, I like him a lot. I like that this cape is what it is. It's got that web kind of effect. It's not quite see-through, but it's a very different kind of material, and I like that a lot in terms of the way that it's done. It is just like a G.I. Joe backpack. It just kind of pops on his back right there. The mask is raised, so you're looking at like the eyes and whatnot. They're actually raised. Nothing else on the figure, as far as I could tell, is raised or sculpted on. He has these, that's actually kind of cool. So they did have to make new forearms for the figure. Everything else, as far as I could tell, is a repaint, and that's fine. I've heard people argue a couple of times now, all the time, actually, not a couple of times, I hear it all the time, where people say that their biggest problem with Maximum Spider-Man is that the webs were not etched in, and that they know that that's going to be a lot of reuse, and that they're mad about that. Personally, all the best Spider-Man figures that I've owned do not have the etched webs. And personally, Spider-Man is often a budget superhero. Because of that, he usually lacks the ability to make a suit that would be so sophisticated that the webs would actually be raised or etched or armor or indented. It would literally just be stitched into the material and just be a part of the material, like a printed shirt. That's realistically what Spider-Man is wearing. So when I get a Spider-Man and it's just the webs are just painted on, that actually feels more authentic, and I like it more. In fact, first appearance Spider-Man, the webs are not etched, they're just painted on there. I like that one. Renew Your Vows. I like that one. They're just on there. They're just painted on there. Maximum. I like that one. They're just painted on there. Japanese Spider-Man. Same thing. 77 Spider-Man. Same thing. Toby Spider-Man. They're raised. The webs are etched up. I don't like it. Like, and I could go on and on realistically, but I think I've explained where I sit with the whole thing and repaints and whatnot. When it comes to Spider-Man, it does not bother me that almost everything on Spider-Man on the regular is reuse. Because quite frankly, Spider-Man is a cheap looking character. I mean, if you're going to compare him to something like Iron Man, Captain America, who has like a military grade uniform, usually enhanced by like Avengers level technology and stuff like that, or for that matter, the original one was literally given to him by the government and he was a super soldier, and so he had all the bells and whistles of the time, including all the bells and whistles of the new time. When he wakes up and he ends up on Tony's team, quote unquote, like, that costume is going to look very different with the fish scale plates and everything like that than a kid normally around the age of 15 to 17, unless you're talking about once he moves on and he goes into college, which I would argue happens very, very quickly. College Spider-Man, personally to me, and like right after college, these two eras of Spider-Man feel like the actual main line of Spider-Man. I don't know why the movies and the shows keep taking him back to high school. He wasn't there for very long, guys. He graduated pretty early in them books and then went off to college pretty early in the run of those books. But we can't get him out of high school, man. Like, it just drives me crazy. And even then, even when he's old like that, his stuff would look cheap comparatively to other heroes in that universe. He looks discount store. Like, he just does, guys. So it never bothered me that all of these are like repaints and whatnot. This is perfectly fine for me. This hits the mark. In fact, this is basically perfect because this is what the costume was in the actual comic book. He was, in fact, a guy that literally suffered a disaster, went to his apartment. This was literally a Halloween costume. Not Halloween, but you can read the books and know what I'm talking about. That's just the best easy reference that I can make to you right now. It's a Day of the Dead costume. Stop it, camera. Stop it. Stop. Hey, we're going to fight. Hey, back up. Back up. Get on my face, camera. Get on my face. No, what are you doing? Oh, it's the Spider-Man is causing it. You stop making the camera come up here. The camera's going to go away now, and you're going to cool it. Okay? Stop. Stop. Yes. This guy literally just goes to his apartment, basically, and he has a costume, a Day of the Dead costume, and he puts it on and he modifies it, and that's what the Spider-Man 2099 is wearing. It would be cheap. It would be a cheap, not raised skull thing, not etched where the red is actually raised and it's a different fabric or yada yada. It would be this. So, like, Spider-Man is one of those characters that when they repaint him and repaint him and repaint him and repaint him, it actually doesn't bother me at all. It actually feels authentic. Spider rant. I apologize. Not the point of any of this. But if you've been here for enough of my shows, you know now I'm not actually reviewing toys necessarily. I'm opening toys so that we can discuss fandom topics about the overall fandom of comic books, video games, toys, and what these toys represent in my life. And that's what we're here to do. We're just hanging out, talking fandom. If you're new here, welcome. Yes, Spider-Man 2099 added to the shelf. Fantastic. I very much think I think he's great. I really do. Minor things that I could complain about. Like I said, he doesn't have the right hands. But really, what am I complaining about at that point? Who do you think will be the next Marvel Legends Maximum figure? My money is on Wolverine, but I think Thor would be cool. A lot of people are talking Thor. Like, to the point where it makes me feel like if this many people are talking about it, does somebody with enough inside information, did somebody say something? I feel like it will be Thor. Also, it has been a long time since we've had a decent Thor, right? Like a standout, this is the Thor you need Thor. We've already got a Captain America now because of the Gamerverse that pretty much is almost unanimously being looked at as the Captain America. It is an argument between him and the, what was it? Is it like the anniversary one? Those are kind of touted as the ones you want to get right now. Wolverine, would they be stepping on their own toes? Is that too early? We just had Gamerverse Wolverine. If they put out Wolverine and they try to do that, they run a couple of problems here. What one? What is Maximum Wolverine? Is it the brown suit? Is that classic? Is it astonishing? Is that classic now? I'm asking a real question because classic changes with the time and who you're selling to. For the longest time, brown suit Wolverine was considered to be classic and iconic. But the 90s happened, and that old costume from the 70s got reimagined and rebooted, the tiger stripe, and it took off. It became the costume most associated with Wolverine all over again. Is that Maximum? Do you go with the tiger stripe Wolverine and offer us alternatives? Do you give us the cat face Wolverine, right? From his actual first appearance, and like have him have swappable gloves so that he can kind of look like that Wolverine? And then another head sculpt would be the 90s and another head sculpt would be the 70s? Do you do that? What Logan do you go for under it? Because Logan has had a couple of defining looks. I think he's tough. He's real tough to nail because Wolverine has a lot of icon looks. What one is Maximum? Do you want the most bang for your buck? Because I would argue that's the tiger stripe. I would argue that with enough swappable parts, you could turn your Maximum Wolverine into whatever one you want. Wanting to be a first appearance? Put these parts on. Wanting to be the 70s? Put these parts on. Wanting to be the 90s? Put these parts on. There you go. You got 3 Wolverines. But one could argue that if we're going to do a Maximum Wolverine, it should be the Wolverine from his own comic series. That's brown suit. Does he come with his sword? Is that iconic enough to make it into there? Should it? How many people even know about it? Does it matter? I don't know. It's an interesting question. I think Thor is next. I think there's a little too much to the rumors, and I think Wolverine is tricky. Also, we have no idea if the Maximum line is going to run course. Right now, I think it's skimming on the fact that it just did a very good Deadpool, but not a lot of people were happy with the Hulk, and a lot of people were mad about the Spider-Man, though they bought it. So I don't know how much gas is in the tank, so to speak. Though I am enjoying it for what it's worth. Let's see. Either way, I want him. And Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. Right. I was the last vote for Spider-Man 29. Spider Putts? Spider Putts. Dude, I'm sorry, that's so me. I am. I call myself out on it. That's exactly. I know who I am. I know. You sell Marvel Legends says, "Hey Bill, we got a Spider-Man," and I'm like, "Oh crap," because I know they have like a 70% chance of landing me before they even show me what it is. I know that. I have a Spider-Man 2099 figure from Across the Spider-Verse, but it's not a Marvel Legends figure. Well, I might know the one you're talking about. Spider-Man Unlimited is what we got instead of Spider-Man 2099 cartoon. Right, pretty much. Pretty much. And now they actually have a Spider-Man Unlimited figure, which I'll admit, I didn't like that cartoon. That figure looks good. If you have any level of nostalgia for that cartoon, kind of like a cult following, I was into this when nobody else was into this, I could argue that I understand, and it could be passable. Most people nowadays only really know 2099 from the Spider-Verse movie, which I'm not really mad about because he was done justice in that. Okay. And yeah, look, I am not oblivious to something that I continually call out about myself. I'm 41. Okay? I don't claim to know. I don't look at the algorithms, or rather, I don't look at the analytics strong enough to know exactly where my fan base, like the people that show up most often, where they are. Are they in their 40s, their 30s, their 50s, their 20s? I don't know. So I don't really make that assumption. I just talk to everybody like, hey, this is where I'm coming from. Now maybe you understand, or maybe you're right where I am. I know that most people that know Spider-Man 2099 at this point either know him from video game costumes, video games in general, where they don't really give you enough information for you to really know what that was, or, like you said, Into the Spider-Verse. And then, like, that's it. Most people, I imagine, at this point, have not or do not or will not read that comic book. Not the way that I did. There was going to be a Hypno Hustler movie with Donald Glover as the character, but it didn't get made. I did not hear about that until like recently when this figure came out. And then I started hearing people talking about that. So like, that's kind of wild to me because I never heard anything about that until like literally like what I was saying. Yeah, unfortunately the Sony Marvel universe is it's dog doo-doo. Not a fan, huh? Shouldn't he have Talon hands? Yes. Morbius is the only one of those movies that I don't like. Then what's the spider armor made of? The spider armor is also kind of... It's more expensive than his regular stuff. The spider armor was actually created in a laboratory where he basically stole components. If I remember right, I have this comic. It's been a long time. But he fought a guy and he got wrecked and he needed more. He needed the armor. So he created it. And from what I remember, he creates it basically by stealing supplies from, was it the university or a science center or something like that? I don't remember 100%. And then he goes out in the spider armor, and it's only in one book. Literally, it's in one book. That one book, he fights a couple of the guys. The armor must not be that great because it actually gets damaged and busted up in that comic. And then because he is a literal budget superhero, he does not have the money to make it again. Now, going on to the next part, just in case that was the question, I want to get this 100%. You are also possibly meaning, I don't mean the Iron Spider suit. So that's, when I read that, That's the reason I started answering that question, because the Iron Spider suit, of course, that's made by Tony Stark. It's a completely different argument altogether. And maybe one could argue when that figure comes out, we should expect it to be more. It should be etched. It should be raised. This should be like that. That makes sense because it is a spider armor. But it's also nanotech. So, like, one could argue that it probably is just like a flat, clothy-like material also, and then it would also still look very much like Spider-Man stuff, where it's literally just like part of the fabric and not something that is like machinery. So you get what I'm saying with all that? Yeah. Venom is mediocre, but was all right to some extent. Kraven the Hunter was dog doo-doo. Along with Morbius, Morbius was trash, in my opinion. I have not seen Venom. I have not seen Morbius. I have not seen Kraven. I have not seen Madam Web. Any of it. Here's the thing. Okay? When those movies came out, they said, hey, here's Venom. And I said, without Spider-Man? Yeah, Bill, this is without Spider-Man. Then he's not Venom. He's not Venom. I know that some people are going to feel a certain way about this. I never even gave the movie a chance, and I'm willing to call myself out for it. But I was adversely against the idea of Venom being Venom without having Spider-Man's influence to begin with. Eddie is affected in his life by Spider-Man and Peter Parker. The symbiote is affected in its life by Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Both of these characters come together after rejection and suffering at the hands of an enemy, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. And it makes them hate. And when they come together and that hate grows, they make it their personal mission to act as poison on Peter Parker's life, which is the reason they take the name Venom. That's not a mistake. That is specifically why they exist. Then you make a movie without Peter Parker, without Spider-Man, and still the character is Venom. Why? Like, that was my train of thought, and I never got past that train of thought to watch the movie. And then because I never watched the movie, I never felt the drive after missing the first to see the second, and never really cared about seeing any of the others that sprang off, like Morbius and whatnot, because, like, most of the Spider-Man villains cannot exist without Spider-Man's direct intervention on their lives. Like, their characters don't work. Spider-Man is literally a web of coincidence. And oftentimes, he is a focal point that causes situations that bleed out to create the supervillains. Like, it happens over and over and over and over and over, whether he wants it to or not. His life is affected by the web that surrounds him. And then you take him out and do a bunch of movies on his villains? I don't understand. Like, my mind doesn't process how that works. So I haven't seen any of them. That's why. Six-armed Peter Parker Spider-Man is in the movie. The new Spider-Man movie that's coming out? Really? I hadn't heard about that. That's interesting. I wonder how they'll work that in. Huh. The only ones I have are the Venom movies, Madam Web, Kraven the Hunter. I don't want Morbius. I only watched it once on Netflix, but for a reason. Hey, Bill, glad to see you, man. Hey, what's going on, man? From the rumor mill is Max Thor and Symbiote Spider-Man. Symbiote Spider-Man almost... They're going to have to blow my mind. I know that I call myself out all the time. I say spider putts, but look. I have 2 symbiote Spider-Mans, or black suit Spider-Mans, and I'm very happy with them. Like, I'm very happy with them. I have zero need for another. I think they move just fine. I like them. I have no problem with their posability. I have no problem with the extra heads and options. They would have to blow my mind to get me to drop another 50 or 60 on just Maximum Spider-Man painted black. I don't, I can't see myself doing it. They would have to blow my mind. I would have to see something in that pack that makes me go, oh, damn it. Like, caution, spoiler in this message sounds right, since Thor is a big part in Doomsday and Symbiote Spider-Man is coming to the MCU, Symbiote getting introduced at the end of the Spider-Man movie. Speaking of Spider-Man 2099, it reminds me of these longtime Iron Man fans. 99% of people love him, yet cannot name any of his villains besides the Mandarin, not oddball Iron Man 3 guy. Yes. Yes. I will say there's different levels of, like, becoming, like, fans. And it is what it is. Some people, they watch the cartoons and then they become long-term fans, but all their ideas and their visual perception of that character comes from the cartoons. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but it is kind of like people that go, oh man, Wonder Woman is my favorite superhero ever. And then you're like, oh yeah? Silver Swan? Dr. Poison? Dr. Psycho? They have no idea what you're talking about. None of that like hits for them at all. They know Ares. That's it. Like, they have no other affiliation whatsoever. And some people will even go as far as to be like, dude, I've been like a fan of, this character my entire life. I just wish they had better villains. And I'm like, do you know any of their villains? Like, have you ever gone out of your way to know and see if you actually feel that way for real? Or do you just say that because their villains don't really appear in comic books? Like, Like, do you know who Faust is? Like, I'm just saying, like, I can name different Iron Man villains. Bill, do you want to know how they work the 6-arm Parker into the movie? I don't know. I don't know if I want to know that rumor or if I want to be surprised. I don't know. But then again, it is a rumor. I have no idea. A Maximum Symbiote suit puts a bad taste in my mouth, to be honest. It would probably be on the exact same body. Reuse this early is a bad sign. That's exactly right. I'm right there with you. They would have to shock the crap out of me. It would have to blow my mind. Sony really does not know what they are doing. Nobody asked for a Madam Web film. Kraven was too small and not crazy enough. Venom really did not deserve 3 solo films. He's marketable. Whether I like it or not, Venom sells books, sells games, sells shows, sells movies. And he doesn't even have to be right. He just has to be Venom. Wenwu from Shang-Chi is the real MCU Mandarin, even though he wasn't actually called that. Because Sony had because Sony had some agreement with Disney that Tom's Spider-Man can only appear in MCU projects, any solo movies are a Sony thing. At the time, villains like Venom on screen owned by Sony. Right. Of course, that's changed now with the death of Sony MCU. Cheetah is also a Wonder Woman villain. So are Giganta and Egg Foo. Oh my God, Egg Foo. Ooh. Egg Foo. Oh my God. It's one of the most ridiculous things, man. It's so fantastic. I see your point on Iron Man, actually. Imagine a hardcore Batman fan saying, "Who is Alfred?" Right. Oh, you say this Bruce Wayne fellow's parents were murdered? I had no idea. A Venom solo could and can work. It just wasn't done justice because of bad writers and the lack of Spider-Man's presence or connection to the story. It needs Spider-Man, or otherwise, what's the point? And see, that's just it. I wasn't against the idea of a Venom movie. I think Venom as a character holds his own weight. He's very marketable, and I think he gets out there and he'll get it done. Just like I feel like X-Men is X-Men, but you can do a Wolverine movie. Of course you can, right? Venom hits that same level of marketability. He doesn't need the others to do his own film. But if he's never encountered Spider-Man and you have no history of Parker, how did he become Venom in the first place? Like, that's I can't see past. Venom is not one of those things where you can rewrite the backstory. He only exists because of that. And regardless of any circumstances you change, Venom cannot be Venom if he doesn't have a history that creates the name and the reasoning and the concept for the character at large. It doesn't work for me. Why couldn't they have the real Mandalorian in Iron Man 3? I'm trying. Hold on. Give me a second. See, the creation of Guardians of the Galaxy makes that really hard to answer. Because once Guardians of the Galaxy is on the table, we've already sold the idea of talking raccoons, living in a giant space giant's head. Like, we're already playing with concepts that the regular person, comic books is wild. I'm not arguing comic books with anybody. I'm saying that you already sold some concepts that would have only worked in comic books up to that point to the mass audience, and they accepted it. So at that point, you're telling me they couldn't have sold the idea of man with rings that are a technology that's basically indiscernible from magic? Like, you couldn't have sold that concept? That does feel a little funny that they didn't run full Mandalorian and just go with it. Like, it is kind of wild that they did that. It is kind of wild. And if that's the argument, why not do the Shang-Chi movie? Just call him the Mandalorian. And then pull him over, and there he is. I mean, look, comic books are like that. Sabretooth started out as a Fantastic Four villain. He was in the Fantastic Four book. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like I'm remembering that right. And then he was moved over to the X-Men fighting Wolverine, and now history is made. Not all of these villains start like guaranteedly like here that this is going to be your villain. That's not the way that it works all the time. Sometimes these guys bounce around. Let's be honest. Kingpin was 100% a Spider-Man villain. Then Kingpin moved over to the Daredevil. And if you were gonna ask me, if I was gonna argue which one he belongs to, you could say both, but if I have to pick one, Kingpin goes with Daredevil. If I have to pick one, that's where I'm putting him. End of story. Not all of these guys start where they end up, and that's fine. So there was really no reason, you know what I mean? Like, holy crap, if they did an Egghead from DC, the Vincent Price version, I'd pay to see that. Excellent idea, Egg Foo. It will scramble the fan base sunny side up. Todd McFarlane. I guess I'll make an Egg Foo figure in 2026. No backlash at all. He would, though, too. He doesn't care. Ooh, I think my Spawn is on the way, by the way. I'm excited for that. That will be the first Spawn I have had on this shelf since the 90s. It has to do with the Asian representation and stereotypes. Disney has been making this excuse and using the actual Mandalorian would be stereotyping. I get that they're a little worried, but with minor rework, as long as he is the Mandalorian, he has the rings and you play the he didn't have to be a weird science experiment glowy lava man. What I mean by that is Mandarin. Sorry, I keep saying Mandalorian. The Mandarin with his Chinese garb and accent. Right. Well, I know we've only been doing 2 figures per show and whatnot, but I am kind of coming up on the end of this one here. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me. And I'm going to start opening some figures here and there in my own personal videos and whatnot, and kind of getting them out there and mixing them in with some of the chapter releases and whatnot, just to get some of the stuff out in the open. Because right now, as the show's taken off and we're asking more questions and we're talking fandom and everything, and these hangouts are starting to work, we don't have to fill all the space with figures. That's not going away. That's what this is. So I'm not going to get crazy about it. But I think there are a couple figures I want opened, and I'm just going to go ahead and do them and do the videos just like we released the chapters. And I will keep fighting with this camera until I figure out exactly what I can and can't do and how often it wants to mess with me and fight with me. And for right now, I'm not mad at it or anything like that. I really think this looks good. I think that this is an upgrade, in all honesty. So I think we're doing good here. I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good night, everybody. And I hope your week goes well. I'm going to get out of here. Catch you later.